Well, hello, world of YouTube. It has been a minute, huh? Um, the last couple weeks for me, I can't even, it's been awful. Um, so I'm here now. I'm still not where I'd like to be, health wise, but I'm feeling okay enough. I got up and fixed myself up a little bit and just trying to connect and catch up. So, gosh, the last 2 weeks. I wasn't feeling well for a while, and I was really struggling with the gout. And my doctor had me take a pretty high dose of prednisone. So I was taking this prednisone at a pretty high rate, and yeah, it was working on the gout. But what was happening on the side was that, sorry, I'm moving around. I was not making it to the potty, to put it bluntly, and it was frequent and it was bad. And I attributed that to the prednisone. So I did nothing about it because I figured it was a prednisone. So then when I went off the prednisone, it did stop. And then the gout decided to make a reappearance, and they put me right back on a heavy dose of prednisone. So that started up again. So I didn't think anything of it. I thought that the prednisone was connected to my bathroom issues. So anyway, finally the gout quiets down. It didn't really go away, but it definitely quieted down. And I noticed I just wasn't feeling very good at all. And I can't describe it. It was just a general feeling of, like you could really never point anything specific on it. It was just, I don't feel well. So I attributed it to the prednisone and the gout and whatever. So nothing else crossed my mind. Well, then last weekend now, it's Tuesday, last weekend, I was off, very off. I could tell at times that I was off, but again, it was nothing specific. And then, let's see, what night was it? Saturday night? I believe it was Saturday night. Anyway, I don't remember much of it. I don't remember any of it, actually. It's a very weird thing to think that you did and said things that you have zero memory of. I would attribute that to a stroke or, drinking, which I don't drink. But anyway, my husband ended up calling my son and asked him to come over and listen to me. And my son could hear me talking on the phone, I guess, and he said, yeah, Mom's not right. And so he came over. He lives real close to us. He came over and just sat with Greg and I for a while, and he told Greg, yeah, she needs to go to the hospital. There's something wrong with her. And Greg ended up dressing me. Totally dressing me, putting on pants, the works. I think he even put on socks. I went to the hospital with no shoes. But, he said that he wanted to take me to the hospital, and my son was here, and I said, no, let me sleep. I do remember that. I said, let me sleep, and I'll go in the morning. This was at night, like around 6:30, and I didn't really want to go. There was no snow then, and it was still mild outside, and he said, you have no choice, you're going. And the next thing I know, my other two sons walk in the door. So he had 3 of them and 1 of him, so 4 of them against me, and they're like, you're either going or we're carrying you to the hospital. And I don't remember that, but that's what I was told, that I wasn't going to be able to wait till the morning, that I was going. And Greg said I started talking weird again and saying weird things. And so they all just said, you need to get into the car now. And I actually did that. And I do remember that. I remember sliding down the steps to get into the car. Then I got to the hospital, and they ran all their tests, and I remember one of the nurses came in and said, well, all your tests are coming back negative, so, I don't know, we have a few more we're waiting on, but things look okay, So I thought, cool. I had a craving for a McDonald's cheeseburger. So anyway, then a couple seconds later, the doctor walks in, and he says, he goes, we have enough tests that come back, and it's looking like you have sepsis. And I remember that. And I turned around and I looked at him and I said, sepsis. I said, you can die from that. And he said, yes, you can. And I looked at him, I said, it's bad. And he goes, yes, it is. And then all I remember after that is, well, I guess I'm not getting my cheeseburger. And he said, I wouldn't advise it. He goes, I need to admit you. So they did. And everything is kind of a blur that first night. I just remember a lot of IV, well, the IV and a lot of shots, a lot of blood taking out, and then being wheeled up into my room. And after that, that first night is probably not much to remember. And when I got up in the morning, the doctor came in and affirmed it, that I did have sepsis, and he said he thinks I made it in really good time. And just that first dose of IV antibiotics really gave me a boost. And I could tell because I felt different. I didn't feel good, but I felt different. So I knew that whatever was in me was helping me. So long story short, I stayed in the hospital for 4 days, and I did have sepsis caused by an untreated UTI. And everybody was asking me, how did you not know you had a UTI? Didn't you have the burning? Didn't you have this? Didn't you have the back pain? And I'm like, I had nothing, other than that I didn't make it to the bathroom in time, but I attributed that to the prednisone. And like I said, when I went off the prednisone, that stopped. So there was no way I would have caught it. So that's what happened to me in the last week, a little over a week. So I'm home now recovering, and I feel pretty good. Just still feel like kind of like, how do you explain it? Like you were flattened out like a pancake. And I'll be on antibiotics for another, I think, week or so. And I'll tell you, that was an experience. So that's that. I'm still alive. I beat another big thing, which is pretty amazing to me. Other than that, I feel all right, except for now I feel like I got to recover and everything. But yeah, so that was my last week and a half. And since then, everybody knows, most of the United States, or a good part of us, we've got hit with the cold snap and the snow. I believe we were in about the 14 to 15 inch group. I got released from the hospital on Saturday, which was the worst day of all this. Baldy had a hard time getting me out. We don't have a plow or anything where we're at, or not a plow, a snow blower. We don't have that. So it really took some work for him to be able to get out of our driveway and then to get to the hospital. And the roads were terrible. And that's the day that the cold started coming in. So it's been interesting, to say the least. We are now in the midst of it. Today is the worst day of this cold. I believe we are at 13 below with a wind chill in the 30s, 40s. We are spending an awful lot of time trying to keep our feral cats warm. And so far they're doing well. They have a heated house, and then I purchased a heated mat. And Greg put that together and put it on our deck. So excuse me for fidgeting. I'm just not right. He put a heated mat with a towel over it. So when they're on the porch or eating or drinking water, which we keep warm, their paws are warm. And so the ones that want to come in, we let them come in. And I just looked at Orangey's nose. Oh, God. Orangey and Whitey come in quite a bit. So I have two that come in with me quite a bit. And today's project was to strip down my entire bedding. I give up with comforters for right now. Orangey, my feral cat, is a sickly cat, and he's got a runny nose all the time. So you can imagine what it does to my bedspread. I gave up. I've lost that fight. So I stripped everything down. I'm not using a bedspread anymore till spring. And I have to keep an extra sheet on the top of my sheets because his nose. So that's what I'm battling right now, is Orangey and his idiosyncrasies, whatever you call them. So what else is new? On Friday, I go take more blood work. I don't believe I have any blood left. I go take more blood work to see if the radiation worked. And so I should find that out next week. I sure hope it did. I'm not in the mood to go through much else. I really need a break. We were hoping to take another little mini trip in this month, but it's looking like right now like it's not going to be possible between the weather, because we can't leave the house unattended. We have to watch our pipes and the cats and then me recovering. So maybe February, knock on wood. But yeah, so Friday is my blood test, and I should know that next week. Let's see, what else? Everything else is going pretty well. We have made it through this extreme cold so far. Today's the worst. We have had no frozen pipes. This will be our first year if we make it. Last year we went 4 days one time without water and without running water. We keep enough water where we can bathe and I can wash my hair and all that stuff, but it's not easy. But this year he's been staying up all night. He gets up like every hour and a half and goes around and checks everything, and it's doing well. So I hope and pray that we get through this. If we make it through today, I think we will, because this is the coldest day. And thank God we have the sun. That helps a little. Other than that, I'm still having some side effects from radiation, which I think is a part of this too. My skin is still peeling in the weirdest places, in places where they say they didn't radiate me. Figure that out. Greg's been taking pictures because, especially with what happened to me, having sepsis and people knowing that you get delirious and aren't quite right. I don't want them saying, well, you did have this, so you might have thought you had this. No, we've got pictures. So I'm still peeling, and it's just weird. Like I'm peeling in my feet right now, all over my feet. Weird, like ankles, toes. It's just weird on the joints. So I don't understand any of that. But I think that's about it. I really miss, just being able to talk about other things. There's so many things that I really want to talk about. Like I'd still like to talk about my marriage. This was a real test for me, being this sick and this dependent. Like the first day that I was in the hospital, I didn't even have enough strength or energy or the ability to wash myself. And Greg was actually washing me, and I had most of my clothes off and sitting on the bed, and nurse came in and she goes, "Oh my gosh, your husband is a doting man." And she said, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. She said, "This is wonderful to see." And he had cleaned me up from, everywhere, all my privates and legs and feet and arms and back. And because by that time it had been a day and a half since I had showered. So that was something. And that first day too, I was so weak I couldn't actually even lift my fork. So he was feeding me. He fed me. And I'll tell you, you sit there and you think, am I better off having a nice house and money and all this, and a husband that maybe isn't the greatest as a caretaker? Or am I better off, I'm okay, I'm not wealthy, but I'm not suffering, and having a husband that really looks after me very well, to the point where I never feel, like I'm a burden or that I'm gross or anything like that. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I know harder days are coming, especially if the cancer keeps advancing. It's just going to get worse. So I don't think twice about being cared for. I know that I will be. But so that I'd like to talk more about, marriage. When you have, you have one or you have the other. I know many have both. They have husbands like Greg that excel in the caretaking area and the finance area. They get lucky and they get the whole kit and caboodle. I'm not one of those. I got one. And I'm at an age in life where, I'm looking at my exit. I'm not looking at, I'd still like to get home and all that, but it's not my priority anymore. It's not like it was. So, you really do some heavy thinking, because I'll tell you, I've seen the other side. I've seen where women are alone or poorly cared for and made to feel that burden and stuff. And so, this was a test, and this is actually a real test in marriage, where they say for better or worse, richer or poor. It's not the richer or poor right now, but it's definitely for the better or worse, because I am kind of a sickly person right now. I really hope I get my break. And I hope my cancer is stable again, and I hope that things settle down for me because I feel like since October, my life has been more about my health than other things. And it's the other things that I want to talk about. There's so many things on my mind that I think about all the time, like I said, marriage, family. There's a lot of things in my birth family that, I see with my brothers and sisters and we go through. And I still would like to talk about what it's like being raised in a very severe dysfunctional home, to the point where 8 of us, I feel like sometimes all 8 of us are just like floating out in the ocean, and some of us are sinking. And, like I don't feel like I'm sinking. I feel like I'm floating very comfortably, but a lot of my brothers and sisters are thinking this damage that was done to us as children will never be fixed now. It's just too late in life. All the offenders are dead, and my brothers and sisters have some pretty bad alcohol and drug issues. And, if you haven't fixed that by your 60s, late 50s, I doubt you will. I doubt you'll die with it. So those are things I'd like to talk about more, and I sure hope that my health will simmer down so that I can. And I just wanted to come and update all of you. I'm not at my peak yet, hopefully soon, but I wanted to update you all and just do a regular little video instead of, those quick community shots. So I hope everyone is doing well. I hope we all have a good New Year. I still consider this a good start to the New Year despite this, because this is major for me. This is a major illness that I kicked again. And so I consider that a success and a good start to the new year. I don't look at the fact that I was sick. I look at the fact that I overcame it pretty quick. 4 days from when you get sepsis. I don't know if anybody knows this, but when you get sepsis and you go septic, you can die in about 12 hours. It takes 12 hours to die. It had already started affecting my kidneys and my heart. And I think I had only gone septic for a few hours. He figured I was sick for a few days, but septic, I think, only a few hours. But it had already impacted my kidneys and my heart. So you go quick. 12 hours is quick. And when they told me that, and they did not have the ability to fix it quick, you were in the hospital. I remember some cancer patients saying they were in the hospital for a month. So that's what I thought my butt was going to be landed. So when they told me I could go home in 4 days, I was like, but then when I talked to the doctor, he said they now have the capability to eradicate sepsis from your system in like 24 hours. So what a blessing, huh? I mean, what a blessing. And it did. Once they gave me my first dose of IV antibiotics, they gave them to me that night about 9. In the morning, by morning, it had already made a difference in my health. And like I said, I was no longer not right. And so each day you could just feel yourself getting better, better, better. So that was interesting for me to learn. I did not know that. But yes, sepsis can kill you in 12 hours. And I don't know if any of you have heard about that recent story about that mom that went septic after she removed her kidney stent. She's a nurse, and she now has both legs amputated, and I guess both arms are going to be amputated. I don't know what went wrong in that case, but my heart aches for her. She's got 3 or 4 young children. To think that you're not even going to be able to hug them again. I mean, she's young, like 40, 41. No legs, no arms. I just, and I was reading this story as I was laying in the hospital bed, and I'm thinking, I actually thought, Lord, why didn't you do that to me and let that young mom raise her children? I just don't understand why God keeps blessing me, because he does. And I'm talking huge, huge blessings. I may never have been blessed with, a secure home that stayed, or, a lot of money in the bank. But my gosh, when you look at my health and the recoveries of the financial impacts that Greg has made, it's like God has this bubble over me, and he's really being gentle and careful with me. And I don't understand it, but I love it. And I appreciate it, and I'm thankful for it. And I'm always humbled. I'm never like, oh, look at me, I beat this or I did that. I'm always like, why me? Why? Why, Lord, have you chosen to be so gentle and so kind with me. But I don't know, but I sure appreciate it. So on that note, this is my update. I will try my best to get back in a few days. You know, each day I do feel a little better. I still, like I said, I still feel a little off, but I do get better each day. And so I'll try again in a few days, and hopefully I can talk about something else, or I'll just choose to, because I'm sure I won't be right for it. They told me it may take a couple weeks. So everyone, stay warm and stay shoveled out. Let's pray. Well, we're not going to get any more snow, I don't think. I think we're supposed to get rain next. Can you imagine that? We're going to be like icicles next. So we have warm weather on our way, but it's not here yet. And I'm grateful that so far we have no frozen pipes, and my little tiny house is doing tremendous. Stay warm, and I will talk to you all soon.